Okay, I'll try to make this video short and sweet because I know it's your weekend. So I'm going to be teaching you the distance formula. Okay, number one, you need to know the Pythagorean theorem because it comes from that. Okay, so the way the Pythagorean theorem works in a right triangle is you have these legs A and B, right? And you have your hypotenuse C. And so the sum of the squares of the legs equals the square of the hypotenuse. That's the Pythagorean theorem. So there's something called the distance formula, and the distance formula allows you to get the length of segments on a coordinate plane. So first off, let's say that I gave you a segment in general. Okay, I said a segment has dimensions with A, we'll call it x1, y1, and then we have B, x2, y2. Okay, and these are somewhere on a coordinate plane, doesn't matter. So when you're looking to find the length of this segment AB, you could just remember that that segment is actually the hypotenuse of a right triangle. So if you wanted to find this side of the triangle, knowing that the coordinates of B are x2, y2, and the coordinates of A are x1, y1, how would you get this measurement? You would take, you would take your y2 minus your y1, wouldn't you? Because this is a vertical distance. And then if you wanted to get this piece here, if you wanted to find out that distance, you would need to do x2 minus x1, right? So now, keep in mind, this is really your A in your Pythagorean theorem. This is your B. This is your C. We're looking for C. So we would have, actually I'm going to switch out the A and the B. So this is your A, this is your B, this is your C. So when you take your A, we have x sub 2 minus x sub 1 squared. When you take your B, you have y sub 2 minus y sub 1 squared equals c squared. Well, we want to solve for c, so to solve for c, you would get the square root, right? That is your distance formula. So I just derived it for you. Okay, now we're going to use the distance formula. So we're going to get the length of segment AB if the coordinates are A, -3, 2, and B, 0, -2. It doesn't matter which one I call x1, y1, and which one I call x2, y2. It doesn't make a difference because in our formula, we're squaring the difference. When you square the difference, it doesn't matter whether the difference is positive or negative. The square of a positive is positive. The square of a negative is negative, right? So keep that in mind. So I'm going to write my distance formula. So the length of AB, when you take the hat off, it means the length. Now, here's a silly way to remember this formula. Okay, so there's an old man with a hat. This is his hat. And he has two big bushy eyebrows. Those are the squares. This is his nose. This is his big honker. And he's squinting. x2, x1, y2, y1. It may help you to remember it. Silly, but help some kids. So now I'm just going to sub in, so I get 0 minus -3 squared, and I get -2 minus 2 squared, square root. So I get the square root of 9 plus 16, which is the square root of 25, which is just 5. And that's your answer. So it's that simple. Let's take a look at another question. Okay, if a circle has a center -2, 4, and passes through (1, -5), what is the length of the diameter? Okay, number one, if this is the center, right? -2, 4 is the center. And then you have it passing through a point. If we get the distance from the center to that point, that is the radius. So first we're going to find the radius. Okay, so the radius is equal to, copy the formula. So now we're going to sub this in. The order, as I said before, doesn't matter. So I have -2 minus 1 squared plus 4 minus -5 squared. So then you just get 3 squared, -3 squared, which is 9. And then you get 9 squared, which is 81. So you get the square root of 90. Now, to remind you, you can simplify this by writing square root of 9, square root of 10, which is 3 rad 10. Another way to simplify it is to get the prime factorization of 90. And then if you have a match, you see how these 3's match? You only write one of them outside. And then you take the other leftovers, the 2 and the 5, multiply those together, and they go underneath the square root. So that may help you. Now, I never answered the question, though, because I need to find the diameter. So to find the diameter, you need to take the radius, and you need to multiply it by 2. When you multiply this by 2, you only multiply the 3 by the 2. So you get 6 rad 10. All right, hope you enjoyed this short video. See you next week.